Bienvenido o bienvenida a este video. So, you want to learn how to become fluent in Spanish fast. Well, you've come to the right place. Let's take a look at how to do it. First, find your guide ASAP. What I mean by this is find a teacher or some resource as soon as possible that can hold your hand and easily guide you through the learning process. Think about people who go to the gym. Oftentimes, people who see good results from going to the gym is because they have a personal trainer or they have a good, consistent plan that they can easily follow. So get yourself a teacher or a guide like myself, SpanishMate.com, or find a good resource that you can easily follow so that there's no guesswork. You have a easily laid out plan. I feel like I'm using the word easily 20 million times already. Okay, so that could be a book online focusing on grammar. That could be a course, SpanishNate.com. Anyways, you get the idea. Okay, so get a guide ASAP. That'll help you a lot. And oftentimes, the students who have those one-on-one interactions learn much faster instead of the people who are just, okay, I'm kind of winging it. I think I'm doing the right thing. It's much easier when you have a very simple thing or plan to follow. Next, just focus on the most important 1,000 words, okay? If you're struggling with vocabulary and formulating sentences in Spanish, it's probably just due to a lack of vocabulary. Now, sentence structure in Spanish is actually pretty simple most of the time. Most times, sentences just follow the idea of subject, verb, object. But if you're not able to formulate sentences the way that you want to, just learn the 1,000 most important vocabulary words and create flashcards of them. You can literally just Google 1,000 most common words in Spanish, see a gigantic list, or you can talk to ChatGPT. Go ahead, create physical flashcards, or you can use a free app like Anki or Quizlet. Quizlet is a little bit more basic. Anki is focused on that spaced repetition. So if you know a word really well, it won't show you for a month. If you know a word kind of well, it'll show you in 15 days. And if you don't know a word at all, it'll show you the next day. So just look up 1,000 of the most common words in Spanish and study them like crazy. I think the reason that a lot of students struggle with remembering vocabulary in Spanish is because they're not studying it enough and they're not putting it into practice enough. Think about the word hola. Why do you know that word so easily? Because you're being constantly exposed to it and you've put in the reps when it comes to that word. So you just need to do that with the 1,000 most common words, and you can pretty much have 80% of the conversations that you're going to want to be having. Next is, do you want to build your house on sand or rock? Now, what I mean by this is you need to focus on the grammar. So many people think, oh, I can just skip over the grammar. Oh, but I saw this thing online. I saw this special method where you actually don't need to use grammar. Boo, wrong. Let me tell you this. When I was a young boy, I was learning piano, okay? I was learning how the notes and the scales, but eventually I kind of just forgot all that and I just learned songs that I like. So it's a fun party trick. I can impress people with the few songs that I know. However, a guy like my uncle who knows the notes and scales like the back of his hand can play anything on the piano and he can play it beautifully. He puts in the reps and he has learned the fundamentals, okay? It's the same idea with grammar in Spanish. If you just want to be able to surprise people with the basic conversational phrases that you've learned, that's fine. But if you really do want to become fluent in Spanish, then do not skip over the grammar. My friend Q RuPaul talks about this all the time. Focus on patterns. Patterns in Spanish are simply the conjugation rules or the charts that we use. They're basically like simple formulas in the same way that we would use them in math, okay? It's not as scary as it sounds, but I promise you, if you just focus on the grammar, you are going to set yourself up for success later on. Because many people start at the beginner stage, they start to see some success, they think, I don't need the grammar, and then when they start to get to the intermediate or advanced level, they begin to plateau. So do not skip over that grammar. Remember, if you feel overwhelmed, get a guide. That is going to help you so much. It'll take the guesswork out of it. Also, make sure to like this video and check out my website, SpanishNate.com. I have a free 7-day course on there you can check out. And I also tutor if you're interested. So check that out. Thanks so much. Liking the video really does help me a lot. Next, habla mucho más. One of the biggest reasons that students don't get as good at Spanish as they would like to, as fast as they would like to, is because they are not speaking enough, if at all. Actually, it's interesting. Oftentimes, I see that students don't necessarily struggle with mastering grammar concepts, but what they really struggle with is confidence and having that confidence to go out and have conversations with people in the real world, which is really unfortunate because speaking is going to be the one main thing that is going to massively progress your Spanish. I promise you, if you just speak more, you will get much better at Spanish than you currently are. Okay, so it really is that simple. You just got to speak a lot, as much as you can. Okay, the students that I have that see the most success are the ones who speak the most. Okay, that's really important. All right, well, let's move on to this side of the whiteboard. Delete your apps. Okay, I don't know about you, but when I was learning Spanish, I had a ton of different apps, which at the time I thought was helping me, but in reality, it was actually holding me back. So, how many apps do you have on your phone that, so that you can learn Spanish? Probably too many, okay? There are just a few main apps that I recommend nowadays to learn Spanish. Number one is ChatGPT. It's not always correct, unfortunately. However, it is pretty darn good. So you can use that to ask it basically whatever you want, okay? You can even practice with it. It is an extremely powerful tool. The next app I enjoy using is called SpanishDictionary.com. They have a free phone app. I highly recommend you get it, and it is by far my favorite translator. Next would be a flashcard app, something like Anki or Quizlet, and that's pretty much it. You can use Duolingo as a supplement. However, I think the best app you can be using is ChatGPT and Spanish Dictionary. That is a really powerful combination, okay? But don't have too many apps, okay? Because what ends up happening is you spread yourself too thin, you don't have a clear learning routine, and you progress slowly. That's why I say get a guide, keep your learning routine simple, don't have too many apps, and just put in the reps every day, okay? Linda, listen, did you ever see that funny viral video online of this small kid telling his mom, Linda, listen, and he's trying to explain to her why he was eating too many cookies? Well, you also need to listen. And the number one thing that students oftentimes struggle with is not necessarily being able to speak to someone, but it's actually being able to understand what someone is saying to them. And speaking helps a lot to overcome this problem. However, of course, listening more often is going to help you train your ear. Now, I love telling my students that they need to focus on the vowel sounds in Spanish because not only does it help your pronunciation, so a, e, I, o, u, but it also helps you more easily understand native Spanish speakers because you'll be looking for those specific sounds instead of the sounds that maybe you've trained yourself to listen to. Okay, so listen. You can listen to podcasts, movies, TV series, songs, whatever you enjoy. That's really important, is listen to things that you enjoy, because ultimately when you're doing things that you enjoy, you will keep that up consistently. Okay, so listen. Next, R&R, reading and writing. Now, most oftentimes this comes through texting nowadays. Okay, so like I always tell my students in my private Discord community, that is oftentimes how they'll be getting their reading and writing practice. Okay, so hey, what's up? Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué pasa? Hey, todo bien. Okay, that is typically how people learn how to read and write nowadays. However, if you enjoy journaling, go ahead, maybe journal in Spanish every night before you go to sleep. Read a book that you enjoy or read articles. You know, the key thing here is to actually enjoy the things that you're consuming, because if you're just doing it because you think you're going to learn quicker, that's great, but it's better to just focus on things that you actually enjoy. Next, ten paciencia. Be patient. Slow down. Lengthen your timeline. I get it. Look, I also want to become fluent in Spanish quickly, okay? Who doesn't want to learn the language more quickly? However, be patient, trust the process, follow your guide, trust your teacher, and have patience, because oftentimes when we're learning, we don't feel the progress, okay? It kind of feels like we're doing this and kind of going down. So oftentimes progress is kind of like this, okay? It's kind of more dramatic, but as long as you can keep up that consistency, then you will ultimately see success. Of course, you want to be doing the right things, which is like why I said you need to have a guide or someone that will help you. Next is just constancia. Like I just said, be consistent. Ten constancia. As long as you're consistent with your learning, you will be successful. And like I always say, I'd rather you learn for 5 minutes a day for the rest of your life than for 23 hours a day for the next 2 weeks. Then you burn yourself out and you never look at Spanish again. Okay? And finally, focus on Vienna. Now, what do I mean by this? Okay, have you heard the song Vienna by Billy Joel? Slow down, you crazy child. You're so ambitious for a juvenile. So what I mean is, just slow down, just relax. Look, I've been learning Spanish for more than 10 years now, but I still consider myself to be learning, and I'm enjoying the process. I'm not getting frustrated. I'm not getting discouraged. I'm saying, hey, this is a journey. I'm going to have fun, and I don't need to become a Spanish pro in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. Slow down, relax, enjoy the process, okay? Because look, if you're hating learning Spanish, then why are you even learning, okay? Slow down, relax, have a great time. Bueno, muchas gracias por ver este video. Once again, it really does help me out if you like this video. And if you're interested in learning Spanish with me, check out my free course at SpanishNate.com. Bueno, muchas gracias y espero que tengas muy buen día. Hasta luego.